Hello, everyone. Today, right now, I'm very happy that we have a professor from one of India's leading institutions, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, TISS in Mumbai. I hope I've pronounced the name correctly, but everybody calls it TISS, so I don't know exactly what it stands for. But it's TISS in Mumbai. We have a professor from there. It's a great honor and privilege to listen to a professor. So over to you, Professor Murari.
Thank you very much, sir, actually, for inviting me and giving me this platform to, I think, discuss issues which I feel these are important issues. Uh, I think since you gave a little bit beginning and we discussed about this actually, and as probably student would have discussed with you what the TISS is actually, and probably I'm from the faculty side will be giving you a little bit idea about what the TISS is. To me, this is a platform where a lot of the many channels combines and forms one channel. Actually, as you rightly said, people from social science, student from engineering, all of them are in the same platform. They learn about the subject in the same platform, and they think about the subject in a sense that in what way they can actually contribute to the subject. Actually. So within the TISS, in the environment of the TISS, I come from, there are different schools in the TISS, and I come from the School of Habitat Study. And the whole idea of making a School of Habitat Study is to focus on environmental issues, but at the same time, think about people also, because we have witnessed a number of instances in the past where environmentalists who picks up the environmental agenda and talks about environment only. Then popular movements, the people those who are in the movements actually they think about the movement part actually they miss the environment part. So the idea of habitat is combining everything, take a middle ground actually in that sense. And this is the key theme of this school from where I belong to. And then within Habitat, we have different centers. We work on different areas. One is water policy, governance. The other one is urban policy. Sorry. And the other one is regulatory policy. And I come from an area of climate change and sustainability studies. So we're focusing more on how we can think about. I think when we started, this program was started in 2012. We were actually thinking about how scholarship in climate as a subject of the climate candidate. There was challenges at the time when we started with the program because partly we will call ourselves maybe no, we were not the first one actually. There are institutions which develop these programs. Like Terry, I also had some background in Terry, also I worked there. Terry started a climate policy program. But those programs were largely science oriented or engineering, technology oriented program. There was a feeling because when we look at the IPCC, the effort of IPCC is not simply looking at a technology part or science part. Then this science goes to the society and then creates some sort of understanding of impacts. And then you look at society, how society is going to take science and facing the impact. Actually. So society is very much important part when we talk about science. And then there are third element in IPCC, which is basically focusing on how do we mitigate the cause of the climate actually, which will definitely look at scientific solution, engineering solution, but then society is also there. So this was the thinking at the time of 2012, not only to look at the science part and not only to look at the social part actually, but to come in the integrated way. Many people nowadays call interwoven system or liberal system something. There are different name on it actually, but this was the idea in the year 2012 when we started actually, and we started in the facility. I am basically by background, I'm basically an agriculture engineer. My first background is in agricultural engineering. I did my agricultural engineering from Govind Vallabh Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, popularly known as Pant Nagar University.
Yeah.
Quite popular in terms of it gave a space to normal Borlaug to do some experiment with the high yield variety, and that was this is what university claims, that they are it's a birthplace for green revolution in India, because this was the experimental ground actually for morning yoga. Uh, I I spent good 4 years there in the program agriculture engineering. We have very different kind of program. The university was quite new for agriculture. And then after completing my bachelor's, I joined IIT Delhi, uh, doing MTech in water resource engineering. So water was quietly connected to the subject of agriculture. So I thought it would be a better shift actually if we can get into that direction. Uh, After finishing master's in water, MTech in water resource engineering, I got offer from TERI. And that was also, I feel the TERI was really a good platform because uh, to me, that was the only, what I understood at the time, actually, if you look at the time around 2005 to 2010, there were very few institutions which are actually working on interdisciplinary issues in those times. So technically, nowadays, there is this term interdisciplinary has become quite popular, actually. Everyone talks about it to this extent. There are different understanding also, because some people say when you say interdisciplinary, you actually have a group of people from different disciplines. They come together and discuss about the subject. That's fine. But also, I think for me, there is a need that one person should also learn from at least some important parts of other discipline. I think ready to learn from other discipline. So that's the characteristics of.
Yeah.
So the TERI was that platform actually, and I found TERI was that time was really, because it has a profession from it's a good pool of professions from economists, those who are economists. Then there are people from science domain, people from social science domain, and they were discussing about real world problems and how do you solve real world problems. And through this training, I can understand what is the importance of social science. Because being an engineer, this is the real problem. And this is the problem which I found in the current scenario also, where we don't give any importance to social issues. Actually. We think social issues can be handled easily.
Yeah.
And that was my mindset also when when I joined TERI. Social issues are simple, it can be dealt actually. There is no complexity. Science is much more complex. This was my mindset actually. But over a period of time, I realized it's a reverse. It's a flip side actually. Science is even an easier way. Social science is even much more complex. So partly my understanding is people don't want to deal with complex issues. That's why they say, okay, we'll stick to science. But I think understanding of both is really important. And that is, I'm a bit fortunate enough that I got the training through TERI actually. The social science is a really important part. And while going through my scientific understanding, and that too limited to a discipline of water, and slowly then I realized that climate is also an important point. You cannot talk about water without the sense of climate. So then I joined PhD program from IIT Bombay and Monash University. It's a, it is again a sort of experimental PhD program that time in 2009-10. They started this academy, IIT Bombay and Monash Research Academy. My own understanding is because some of the universities wanted to enter into India, but there was no formal channel actually. So I think Monash found this as a channel actually. They can take a component of IIT and they can collaborate with IIT actually.
Yeah.
And then they can set up the. This was, I think, most successful to me because if you look at the IIT Monash, what they have done, last figure which I came to know was they have completed 300 PhDs over 10-year time, which is a sort of success. I would say.
Yeah. Can I interrupt you for a moment to add something here? You know, it was no accident that Monash came to India. There was a whole shift of thinking in Australia that we should look to Asia.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that
Correct.
thinking is still there in the political. And when the Indian government announced that you can open up to foreign universities in India, the first two were Australian in Gift City. And this
Yes. So,
is
right.
actually a part of Australia's effort to say
Mhm.
that we are located where we are and our neighbors are all Asians, and we need to develop links with these countries. And so their universities are always the front end, because they can come and have a technical discussion without getting into geopolitics or anything. So the Australian, and I have contacts in Australia, so I talk political science, etc. So they tell me that, look, there's an ongoing debate on how we engage with India. So this is
Very
the academic thrust that you were, and they are trying to give visas to people to do PhD and masters in Australia because they want to form these links. So you were one of the first people to be involved in that. That's just external knowledge. Please continue with your story.
I think I would add on it because before joining IITB Monash, I think I worked for a year in Columbia Water Center.
Yeah,
They were establishing office. They were actually in the process of establishing office in Delhi.
yeah,
And Columbia Water Center was run by Columbia University under the aegis of the Earth Institute.
yes,
And my own understanding, because I was just a researcher at the time, actually, my own understanding is even Columbia University wants to enter into. They have channel. Columbia Water Center was one channel. They have Columbia Global Center also.
yes,
But there is no formal academic movement actually they can
right,
think about actually.
right. All of them are trying to find a way to engage with India, and perhaps the only country that has kept it up. I mean, Colombia was, I'm aware of Colombia's doing it, they were doing it on their own. Australian universities are getting support from the government. That's the
Very true.
difference. That is so they are more sustainable because they can get a grant from the Australian government, right? Whereas
In fact,
Colombia cannot.
yeah. In fact, if you look at the program, I was in IITB Monash. So what IITB did actually, they gave a space to IITB Monash to open up a. And the IIT has a lot of space. One space they gave a one building actually, and one floor of a building, not the whole building. In return, Australia actually assured that they will provide the scholarship for PhD.
Yes,
And that was a good moment actually because scholarship is something which Indian students want actually.
of course.
That was a good support.
Yes,
And at the same time, according to this arrangement, they actually made an assurance that Indian student can be part of the university for 1 year and
yes,
can be in Monash for 1 year.
yes,
And they'll actually take care of all support actually.
yes,
So I used to get a scholarship of around $2,200 actually in a month.
yes,
That was a good support actually in that.
yeah,
So these were, I think, some attractive points which
yes.
actually attract Indian students also.
So continue, please.
Yeah. So in fact, this is what I feel is the success of the engagement. And that is why I can say 300 plus PhD has, I think, awarded from the institute actually. That's really a big job because for a 300 plus PhD is actually going into the account of IIT actually, technically.
Yes, yes,
Because I'm a student anyway, student of IIT. So it's a win-win situation. IIT is getting 300 plus PhD also. And that's a good thing. I don't know what is happening at the moment because I heard I'm not connected directly, but I heard because partly because of COVID, and then after there are some challenges in terms of scholarships actually. So that's a challenge, and probably this the whole arrangement is facing. Uh, so this is a part of journey and some learning through that journey I am taking. So while I was in Australia doing this PhD, I came to know this program, which TISS is offering actually. And that time, the political system was also quite favorable in a sense that the minister was, that time Minister Jairam Ramesh was quite interested in terms of actually starting some education program on climate change. So that he also took some interest, he has given a project. And that year, the director of TISS, Professor Parshuraman, has also shown a keen interest to start some sort of interdisciplinary program. And one of the interdisciplinary program was climate.
Mm.
And since 2012, I've been working in climate, and I've been shifting my positions also, not focusing on one particular area.
Mm.
Initially, when I was in TISS, I used to work in the area of climate impact, climate models, assessment of climate models. And slowly I explored my interest to move into agriculture, looking at climate and agriculture. Then, then I realized that energy is also very important. So I moved into the energy sector and focusing more on sustainability and energy. Uh, Partly this is because of the students' demand also, because they also has been shifting me from changing one post to another. Because when students go out, this is what we've been thinking also, and I've been very concerned about it because students spend a lot of time in doing a course. They come from a different background. Sometimes students come from a very good background, but middle class background and lower middle class background is little challenge. And definitely they would expect that to get a very good job in the market. Right? So when they go out in the market, they give us a feedback that the system is changing. There is a need for people to think about sustainability, energy, GHG accounting, carbon market, and these are the kind of buzzword which is happening in the market at the moment. And probably that was a shift of the time also because post Paris, a lot of I think after Paris Agreement, the entire scenario has also changed actually because there was a mindset from the partly when I was in 2008-9 doing work in TERI, researcher as a researcher in TERI, the sense was that climate is a secondary issue. You focus on your day-to-day business actually. That was the sense actually. But I got a sense, I think, a very modified sense after 2015, where the business themselves are saying that climate is primary issue. Now let us think about climate, how to address climate, what to do in order to address climate change. So when students go outside, there is a demand that they should have specific skills. And there was student was saying now you teach only the climate part, but you don't teach about skills like ESG reporting, sustainability reporting, carbon market. These are really important things. And we were also thinking that students spend a lot of time. They should have some skills so that at least it could be useful for them to get a good job.
Right.
And probably that was the reason I've been shifting my positions also from climate and agriculture to slowly to sustainability reporting. I'm very much into energy, analysis of energy and sustainability reporting.
Yeah.
So this is the sort of shift I have done into my own research. The challenge is climate change and agriculture was easy for me because it was connected to my background degree. So I can do better research over there.
Yeah.
Energy is something I'm learning also, doing also. Probably I'm not getting good output on in terms of research at all.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful. It's a great story to hear. And I'm really happy that you are doing this and responding to the needs of the market and the students because things have to evolve. The time, when we used to teach the same courses again and again is gone. Now we have to be dynamic. We have to take care of the world as it is changing. Anything else you want to tell us?
I think, see, I'm on the other side also, like you are also on the other side. There are a large pool of students actually. I would like to tell something for students actually. Probably this is through my learning also. One thing is we should be quite open to learn from different disciplines actually. I think this is the need of the hour actually. Everyone is doing. And if any institution is rigid in terms of fixing themselves to a discipline, it will fail over a period of time. This is my understanding. We can see this shift, how IITs are changing. They have started a department on climate. They have started a department on sustainability. I think many IITs are developing this. IIMs has also developed in a similar way. They've been started doing. So I think one sense I'm getting from the current scenario is not limiting ourselves to a discipline. We need to be open, actually, ready to work. I think in the past it was little hard because getting resources, information, and knowledge was not easy.
Yeah.
This is a time which is full of resources, full of knowledge, full of things. Actually, I think the only student need to be little open up. If I would like to give an advice to a larger pool of students, this is what I can give actually. The other thing which I can give is habit of reading actually, because somehow this is missing. Some student does, but so there's a flood of material also actually, and student has to take care of to decide which material they should look at, which they should not look. It's a tricky task. Even this is tricky task for us. But I think some habit of reading is needed actually at the moment, which I feel somewhere missing in the current generation. If Gen Z can start blaming us, and we can start blaming Gen Z also. This is the process, but this is our side actually, which we can tell to students.
Well, yeah, I agree completely with that. But I have, now heard more than 500 young people, not professors, young people. And that slice is a small slice, but they are heavily into learning. They read. I'm not talking about average. I'm talking about the select group who appear on my show. They are into learning. Just before you, there's a fellow who grew up in a village in Maharashtra, went to a government school, went to a normal college, but finally he's made his way to doing a PhD in hydrology at IIT Kharagpur. So he didn't get there without learning. Okay. And 2 days ago, I talked to a fellow in West Bengal. Similar situation, low income family, cannot get to a good college, did get into University of Calcutta in library science. And he says, instead of library science, I spent all my time in the library. And now on his own, he's become a cybersecurity consultant at a top company in India. And he says, I am giving talks to students in colleges where I was not admitted. So
They get opportunity.
they said I'm not fit to be admitted, but now they're inviting me to come and give a talk because I've learned so much on my own that companies give me job offers and people invite me. So there are still, I would say, a small number of people who actually work very hard. And, like there's one girl from Delhi. She said, sir, she's doing BCom honors, but she's studying for CA at the same time. Now, CA is not taught in a college. You have to take an exam. So you have to get into some. And she says, sir, I am going to clear it on my first attempt. I said, what are you sacrificing? She said, everything. I'm sacrificing everything because my aim is clear. She's not from a low income family, but my aim is very clear. I want a BCom degree and I want a CA. So there are people who tell me very clearly that, look, I study very hard, and also it's very heartening to hear it.
Yes.
Of course, the average student doesn't come on my channel, so I don't know what the average student is doing. But I know that there's enough young people, and I've talked to your students, TISS. They're very good. I mean, they're just, you feel, okay, we weren't that good at that age. That's what I feel. Because now they have so many resources. They learn and interdisciplinary. I mean, TISS is obviously interdisciplinary. There's no question about it. Those are not students who are stuck in one silo. They talk very generally. They know many things. They talk about many things. So I'm very happy that this is happening. I want to talk to you offline. So let's end this here today and let's talk about some things offline. Unless you want to add something more.
No, I think I'm done from my side actually. Am I audible right?
You are audible, but your video is frozen. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's end it here now. Okay. And I'll be
Yes.
back with another
Yes.
young
Yes.
person or an expert soon. Bye, everybody.